What a game! What a game! I want to congratulate the Milwaukee Bucks for getting the Game 5 victory. They went on the road to Phoenix and overcame a 16-point deficit. They found a way to win this game. My God, fantastic. They were down 0-2 in this series, and they found a way to fight back and win 3 straight games. And with this victory, the Milwaukee Bucks have a chance to win an NBA championship on their home court in Game 6. Honestly, right now, with how this is going, it could very well be the end. It could very well be the end because I believe that if the Bucks would have won tonight, they were going to take Game 6 and they were going to win a championship. And right now, it's really feeling like this. Man, what a beautiful performance by this Milwaukee Bucks team. That first quarter was absolutely pitiful, but it seems like they were out of it. They just weren't used to it. But once they got to that second quarter, man, they completely turned it up. That first quarter was garbage for the Milwaukee Bucks, but once they got to that second quarter, they turned this game completely around, and they dominated for most of this. My God, absolutely fantastic. Giannis doing his thing, scoring 30-plus points again. 32 points for this man tonight. He didn't shoot well from the free throw line, but he was absolutely balling. He came alive in the second half, like I expected. Giannis is always going to ball out. You know what you're going to get from him. But the two guys we got to give credit to, Chris Middleton and Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday was unconscious from the three-point line. He couldn't miss. This man was making tough shot after tough shot. And Chris Middleton also showed up. This is how it was. First half, you weren't getting much from these two guys. They were making an emphasis, but you weren't getting much from them. However, that first quarter, that was the case. You weren't getting much from them. However, once you got to the second quarter, Jrue Holiday woke up. The New Orleans Pelicans' Jrue Holiday showed up tonight and balled out. He had 14 points in the second quarter, which was tied for the most points he's ever scored in a quarter in the postseason. He had 18 points. He had 18 points going into halftime. And in the second half, he continued it. He finished the game with 29 points. This guy was balling out and doing his thing. Chris Middleton didn't really do much in the first half, but he sure turned it up in the second half. He finished with 27 points. That's right. The Milwaukee Big Three had Giannis score 32. Jrue Holiday give you 29 and I believe 12 assists. Chris Middleton, 27 points. I mean, they absolutely balled out as a unit. Fantastic. When your big three is going to play like this, there's no way Milwaukee's going to lose. This was absolutely beautiful. They just dominate. Something just changed. A flip was switched in Milwaukee. It's like we have a golden opportunity here to win an NBA championship on our home court. If we can steal a win here, it's great. The more you just delay for that win, the harder it's going to be. If they would have been able to steal game 1 or 2, this would have been a lot simpler. But again, it's harder to win a game 7 than it is a game 5 on the road. They needed to get this win if they were going to be able to pull off the championship win. And now with that, they have a chance to win on their home court. Fantastic job by them. I could not believe. Because if you were watching this first quarter, you truly looked at this team and believed, here it goes. They're going to lose this one, aren't they? They're really going to come out here and lose the game. It just seems like they're not ready. They were down by 16. I mean, the Suns were doing their thing, moving the ball around, getting everyone else involved, and they were just taking over. But then that second quarter came in, and man, Milwaukee just looked like a different team. They started to attack more. They started to move the ball around more. They started to be more engaged as a team. They just started getting aggressive. Giannis started getting aggressive in the second half. Jrue Holiday started doing this thing in the second quarter. And then once we got to the third quarter, here comes Chris Middleton. And then you just got a whole situation where everybody started getting involved. Even Brook Lopez started hitting threes. Connaughton was making an impact. Bobby Portis was making an impact. These guys were just doing their thing. They were balling out and they were getting the job done. Absolutely flawless. Absolutely fantastic job from these guys. Doing what they needed to do. Getting the win on the road. This was crucial for the Bucks. They're in the driver's seat right now. All the momentum was with them and all the pressure's on the Phoenix Suns because they just blew this game and lost at home. Well done to these guys, man. Well done to Giannis. Well done to Chris Middleton. Well done to Jrue Holiday. This big three showed up and played arguably the best game these three have ever played as a unit. Absolutely fantastic job all around. Well done to them, and now they have an opportunity once again. Game 6, they can end it here. I did say if Milwaukee wins tonight, they win in Game 6. So I expect them to close us out and win the championship on Tuesday. So we'll see what happens with that. Moving on to the Phoenix Suns. Devin Booker had 40 points today. Back-to-back games with 40 points. Fantastic job. Great job for Devin Booker. He showed up. He's doing his thing. He's balling out. But guess what? In the 2 games he dropped 40 plus, the Suns have lost both. Why is that? Why is it that Devin Booker's scoring 40 plus points, yet the Suns are losing? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they stopped doing what works for them. First quarter, they were doing everything right. They were moving the ball around. They were hustling on defense. They were stopping these dudes from getting anything. If you watch the first quarter, the Milwaukee Bucks could not do anything right offensively. They were getting like 24-second violations. They couldn't do anything right. I mean, it was bad. It was shot clock violations, and then they were just flat out turning the ball over. I mean, they had 6 turnovers. One negative that I didn't talk about because I wanted to save it here for the Suns. The Bucks had 6 turnovers in the first quarter. They had 5 the entirety of Game 4. But tonight they had 6 turnovers in that first quarter. And a big part of that had to do with the defense that the Suns were playing. Defense was great for the Suns in the first quarter. And offensively, they were moving the ball around and getting everyone else involved. However, so all of a sudden, that changed in the second quarter. Second quarter, they stopped moving the ball around. They started being a little bit more loose on defense, and the Bucks took complete advantage. They started dominating. They started using their size, but most importantly, they started hitting their threes. And that really started to shook. It started to completely shake and just waver and break the Suns, because all of a sudden, the Suns are seeing the Bucks hit threes, yet the Suns themselves, they're taking threes, and they're missing. I mean, I think they started off the second quarter shooting 1 of 7. Meanwhile, Milwaukee was like 6 of 8 or something like that. So, that 16-point lead they had completely just dropped. And next thing you knew, they took the lead at 50 to 49, and then they just never looked back. They never looked back. They took the lead at some point and just never looked back. And Phoenix, they were not able to counter. Devin Booker was doing his thing in the first half, but it was only Devin Booker. DeAndre Ayton was trying to get involved, but other than Ayton, no one else was really doing much for them. And again, it all comes down to CP3 mostly. He was completely ineffective. The first 3 quarters of this game was garbage for CP3. Fourth quarter, the man balled out and showed up. And we'll talk about the fourth quarter. But first 3 quarters were terrible. Absolutely terrible for this man CP3. And when you got to the second half, specifically that third quarter, all of a sudden, it became the Devin Booker ISO show. They just kept ISOing with Devin Booker. Why did they stop moving the ball around? Your strength is ball movement. This is what the Suns do. Play to your strengths. Why are you just throwing the ball to Devin Booker and letting him just ISO? Why? He was scoring and still balling out, but it wasn't going to help close the gap because Milwaukee continued to go on runs and they continued to beat him. It was just bad, man. It was bad. They continue to beat Devin Booker, and no one else is doing anything because they're just double-teaming this man. He's playing ISO, and no one else is hitting shots, and no one else is getting the ball. What were the Suns doing? But then we get to the fourth quarter, and again, the ISO ball is still playing this way. But all of a sudden, the clock is ticking. The game is still here. It's still within reach. And all of a sudden, here comes Chris Paul. CP3 shows up in the fourth quarter. He hits a couple threes. He's doing his thing. He's driving to the basket, hitting some tough shots. And all of a sudden, we get to the final 3 minutes of this game. And next thing you know, well, not 3, but the final 4 minutes of this game, and next thing you know, you look at the Phoenix Suns go on a 12-3 run, and they brought the game to within 1. And once they brought the game to within 1, things got very interesting. Next thing you know, these two are fighting. The Bucks are fighting to keep that lead. They're absolutely fighting. They managed to get it to a 3-point lead. They continue to do their thing. They're completely fighting and trying to get this job done, and they're holding on to that 3-point lead, but the Suns keep putting the pressure. They keep putting the pressure. Eventually, they end up sending Giannis to the free throw line, and Giannis just misses a pair of free throws. And I'm watching this. We're about a minute left in the game, and I'm watching Giannis just miss these free throws, and I'm like, oh my goodness. They have an opportunity. Devin Booker's going crazy. He hit an amazing 3 because they were down 6, and he hit an absolute beautiful, tough, off the dribble 3 to make it a 3-point game. And that's when Giannis went to the line. He missed those free throws, and all of a sudden the game was right there. CP3's going down the court. He makes it a 1-point game. All of a sudden, we go back on the other side, and boom, the Bucks aren't able to do anything. They're not able to do anything with the ball. So next thing you know, Devin Booker gets the ball. He's down the court. And then we have the play of the game. They cornered this man. They just built a wall around this man in the paint. And they defended Devin Booker, said, you're not going to beat us. Next thing you know, Jrue Holiday goes up to Devin Booker and strips the ball. He rips the ball out of Devin Booker's hands. That is a turnover on Devin Booker. So he gets the ball and he starts running down the court. And next thing you know, we see Giannis. He starts running down the court. And then Jrue Holiday threw a perfect lob to Giannis, who dunked it, got fouled, and just, it was absolutely amazing. Like, that was the play of the game. One of the greatest plays we've ever seen in finals history. That was clutch, and that sealed the game. That was amazing. That was absolutely amazing. And that sealed the game and sealed the fate for the Suns in Game 5. It was just fantastic. What a clutch defensive play by Jrue Holiday. What a lob to Giannis, and great job by Giannis to finish that dunk. Fantastic all around. So, yeah, eventually, you know, the Suns had one last chance to tie the game. Booker got a good look. He couldn't hit the three, and, you know, the time eventually just ran out. It was over. It was definitely over. He had nothing left, and the Suns lost. They've lost Game 5. So what's next? Well, they're on the verge of being eliminated and losing the championship here. So this is a situation where now I'm looking at Chris Paul, and I'm looking at this team as a whole, and they need to figure themselves out for Game 6. Because now you're going to have to go on the road. You've lost all the advantage. It's do or die. It's either you force this Game 7 back in Phoenix or you're losing the championship. It's one or the other. And right now, it's not looking good for the Suns. So it's up to CP3, who's the leader of this team. It's up to Monty, who's the coach. It's up to Devin Booker and all these other guys to figure something out. Because if they don't, their season's ending and they're losing this championship. But with that being said, we'll see what happens, man. This game is going to come down to the wire. I can't wait to see how Game 6 is going to be. This was easily one of the best games in the postseason and the absolute best game this entire finals. This was exciting. This came down to the wire. This was amazing. But yeah, with that being said, that is all I got, man. We'll see what happens in Game 6. Hopefully Milwaukee can get it done, or Game 7 will be forced. But that's all I got, man, and I'm out of here. Peace.